ready to hit the like and share button on YouTube and Facebook. This is the Hot Rod Podcast with Ron Foreman and Brady Wright. We literally live, eat, and breathe cars. Hey, welcome to the 349th episode of the Hot Rod Podcast. My co-host Ron Foreman, president of the Radbasters Car Club in Washington, and also a really, really cool hot rod builder, and my brother from another mother. I'm Brady Wright. This is where we hang out every week or so, and tonight we have a really cool guest. He is his name is Mike Fobes, and it sounds kind of almost anticlimactic to say this. He's been an instructor at Renton Technical College in Renton, which is the south end of Lake Washington, right, South Seattle, since 1997. So he's been teaching people how to build cars for a long time, but that's not it. The stuff that he has built, wow. And between now and when we bring Mike in, I'm going to run a few pictures of some of the cars that he's built. I mean, some really, really amazing stuff. It's the kind of things you see at, the Roadster shows, and he's been there to those. He's not just cars. He builds motorcycles. He builds all kinds of cool stuff. Halloween decorations. He's got a flame-breathing dragon that's in it. That's one on his.
He is a true master. He's a true master builder.
Quite the fab guy. So we're going to have some fun with him. He's a funny guy. And let me show a couple of pictures of some of the stuff that he's built, and we'll bring him in. Hi, I'm Brady Wright. I'm the founder of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame, and I got some big news coming up that I think you'll want to know about. Now, if you're a car person and you're in Idaho, especially North Idaho, you probably are aware of the organization, but just in case you're not, what we do is we recognize hot rodders, clubs, and people who support the sport of hot rodding all through the state of Idaho. It is for Idaho people only. Every year we have an awards banquet that recognizes a hot rodder of the year, a young rodder of the year, and a car club of the year throughout the state of Idaho. Now, you probably wonder, how do people get nominated and how do they get the award? Well, the nominations come from you. If you go to our website, that's Idahof, IDAHHOF.org. There is a nomination form there. You can download it, or you can send an email to idahof@gmail.com, and we'll send you one for yourself. And when you send them in, all of the board gets together once a year, usually in the fall, and we decide who's going to get nominated and who's going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame for that year. Now, our banquet is coming up in about 2 months. We're looking to do it in about September, so you have July and August to fill out your nominations and get them into us. It's real important. The nominations are self-explanatory. The form is real clear, and if you fill it out as completely as possible, whoever you nominate or whichever club you nominate has a pretty good chance of getting in. We induct one hot rodder of the year, one young rodder of the year, and one club of the year every year. But you can put your nominations in at any time. If we don't choose the person you've nominated, for example, this year, they may get in next year. Just depends on who else gets nominated. It's idahof@gmail.com or Idahof, IDAHHOF.org on the web. We're also on Facebook. If you have questions, you can ask them right there. We look forward to getting your nominations in, but do hurry. We need them by the end of August 2023. Okay, so we'll do 3, 2, 1, and we'll go. 3, 2,
Hang on.
1. No, we're not hanging on. Ignore this crap. We're going, whether you like it or not.
I have a big message.
Do or
on my
do not.
screen
There is no
that
try.
There is no try. All right. So with us now is the incredible Phobe-Wan Kenobi, Mike
That's
Fobes.
actually my son's handle. I don't know
But
why.
I like it. It's good. This is Mike Fobes. Mike is a builder and a fab guy, and also an instructor at. Now, give me the name of the technical. Is it Renton Technical College?
Renton Technical College.
Super. And you've been doing that for a long time, right?
Oh, I'm celebrating my 25th year.
So you
Wow.
just about got tenure. Is that what?
Well, I actually got tenure twice and a half.
Well, there you go. That's cool. So it's fun to bring in. I don't want to say local guys because your work certainly speaks for itself and it's anything but local. But a lot of people, they hear about the big names, the Steve Darnells of the world, and people who have their own show. But there's an awful lot of talent that maybe people aren't as familiar with, and yet your stuff has been at the LeMay Museum and other places. I noticed,
Roaster shows.
yeah, I noticed some
The
suspicious.
twin engine car is going back to the Roadster show in March. So
Yeah, I was going to say there's some
Nice.
suspicious looking organ pipes behind you there. So I guess, and when I see you got the coach on the other side there. Yeah, nice. So tell us how you got started in this, because I have difficulty visualizing you were teaching auto shop and then one day, so give us kind of the rundown of what brought you kind of into the fold.
well, how far back do you want to go?
We got time.
All right. So I had no money growing up. My family had no money growing up. I would say low middle class. I mean, we had a house, but it was a rundown house, et cetera, et cetera. So if we wanted anything, we would either have to find it, fix it, do whatever. Started off with go-karts and motorcycles.
Yep.
In fact, I got some pretty good scars on my hands from when I was trying to make some things work that didn't quite work out for me.
Uh-huh.
So grow up, go to school, no money to go to college, wasn't going to take out any college loans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I did not want to turn wrenches. I mean, I wanted to turn wrenches. I did not want to fix cars.
Got it.
So this is back in 78, and they had busted the automotive union. So I knew I wanted to turn wrenches, but I was thinking airplanes.
Okay.
Until I found out that I'd be working at night in a hangar that was open, and I don't do good around the cold. So that kind of threw that one out the window. So then I decided heavy equipment and trucks. Went to Bates, graduated 1980, start of a recession.
Naturally.
Oh,
For
yeah.
those who don't know, Bates is Bates Technical School. It's in South Seattle. It is it's between Seattle and Tacoma, a great organization that has taught people for decades about all kinds of technical stuff. Auto mechanics and fabbing is not just the least of those things. A lot of Bates graduates in my history. So yeah, I'm very familiar.
So I had an apprenticeship all lined up with Komatsu. I mean, I'm going to do great.
You were there.
Except the recession
Awesome.
hits, my apprenticeship falls through. In fact, the Komatsu dealership in Tukwila, they actually went bankrupt
Yeah.
because of that recession. So I took a job in the only industry that was hiring. So I took a job as a metal tech.
Mm.
As a what? What'd you say it was?
Man, Lloyd Erdahl, probably one of the smartest old guys I've ever met, taught me so much stuff, so much more stuff than they taught me at school. At school, they were teaching you by the book. So here I'm exposed to real world conditions and stuff.
Nice.
Ended up getting married, but Lloyd's work was kind of a hit and miss when it came to work. So I ended up with Lloyd. He was this big guy into ASE, NASA.
Right.
And I'm going, anybody can pass those tests. So I went down and I took my 8 automotive tests to get a master, just like Lloyd, so I can walk around with a big head going, hey, look, I'm 21 years old and I'm also a master tech like you.
Right.
And then, of course, I went in and think, you know what? I'll go ahead and take the truck tests so I can get master heavy duty truck. So 6 months later, I took those tests and I got my master truck. And now I've got 2 masters, a master auto and a master truck. And Lloyd's only got a single master.
Ooh.
And me being a smart ass kid back then, I'm just rubbing it into his face. And then, of course, there was only 2 more tests to take. It was the body and painting. So I ended up taking those. I passed those. I have all 16 all of the 16 ASE tests at the time. They send me out this world-class technician, and now my head can't get through the door.
Right.
But I decided that, you know what? The heavy equipment still isn't hiring. I want to get out of Lloyd's shop. So I grabbed my resume and I head down to Auburn's Auto Row. And I'm probably driving a little bit too fast. And I missed the first driveway of the Toyota dealership. If I wasn't quite so reckless, I would have made the Toyota dealership and I would be working at Toyota. Instead, I went into the Mitsubishi dealership. I didn't want to be a jerk, park in Mitsubishi, walk over to Toyota. So I went ahead and went into the service department and put in my resume. I kind of figured leaving there and going over to the Toyota dealership, but they hired me on the spot. So now I'm at
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And that was my first real job. I mean, Lloyd's was good, but this was dealership. This was top of the line. This was all new stuff. I'm used to working on old greasy stuff at Lloyd's. I am working on high-tech, brand new, turbocharged, fuel-injected cars.
Nice.
Darian, wonderful, wonderful manufacturer. And they started sending me to California for factory training. First time I've ever been on a jet was going to school at the Mitsubishi Training Center. Make a long story short, 11 years later, I ended up leaving and going to work at Walker's. They paid a lot better. And then from there, I ended up getting that teaching gig up at Renton Tech College.
That is pretty cool. You know, and it's like going through the chairs, you know, in any other organization. I mean, you pay your dues and you get a little bit more, you know, pretty soon you're one of those top guys. When they start asking your advice, then it's time to move up, you know, someplace because you need that challenge, I guess. So when did you start building your own iron?
So I was into Mustangs. I restored Mustangs. In fact, I still have my 67 convertible. And I've got a few other projects lying around. But yeah, I was really big into Mustangs, take them to car shows. And I know if you've ever taken a car to a car show, the only people that would stop by were Ford people, Mustang people. The Chevy guys, they just walk right past me. And of course, I'd walk right past the Chevy. So, you know, it's a mutual agreement kind of thing. But my favorite holiday was Halloween. Ended up getting a house, having it built. First Halloween comes, I'm all excited, and we get 3 trick-or-treaters. I can go to the end of my driveway and look down about a block down as a housing development, and kids are going everywhere. But nobody would come up to the house. So the next year for Halloween, I built Jonathan. Jonathan is a mechanical man who bends at the waist and constantly stabs his victim. I've got blood squirting up and strobe lights on it.
This is not Jonathan here behind me, right?
No, Jonathan is out in storage. He's not inside.
Got it.
There is one of my robots over there that we used in the haunted house. But make a long story short, every year it got bigger and bigger. I built fire-breathing dragons. I built all sorts of mechanical monsters. And my brother got this great idea to start doing commercial haunted houses for the American Diabetes Association.
Nice.
Cool.
So we build this fantastic haunted house, and we probably opened a little bit early, and no one really showed up that first week.
Oh, no.
We were paying more money to rent the Searchlight than we were bringing in.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the next week, everything caught up. It turned out to be a gangbuster, and it was a great turnout. We just started too early. But during that first week, I am going, what can I do to keep people's attention?
Sure.
So back when I was young, there was this television show called The Munsters.
Okay.
Yep.
And they had the Dracula and the Munsters coach.
Got it.
I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to build a coffin coach.
Okay. Fair enough.
Go home, look it up. And then I kind of find out what the original Dragula was like. Single coffin, engine inside the coffin. Not exactly what I was remembering as a kid.
Not unlike this thing behind me here,
Well, you see, that one I built with 2 coffins.
right?
So I could
There's 2 there.
take my wife for a cruise. Turns out my wife doesn't like the car.
And there you are, a story of your life.
No, we stopped doing a commercial haunted house after a couple of years. It was just too much of a pain trying to get actors and everything else. But I hadn't finished that coffin car. But I started on it. I might as well finish it. But the entire time I'm building this, my wife is saying, this has got to be the stupidest thing that you've ever done.
Oh, no.
And you said, oh, yeah, hold my beer.
I didn't want to say, oh, no, you forgot about all these other things I've done in the past. This is nothing. So I get it done. I take it down to the good guys. And I'm expecting people to not necessarily like it. I'm expecting people to go, once again, why'd you build it? This is stupid. This is whatever.
Surprise.
And oh my God, I had people constantly coming up, taking pictures, kids getting their pictures taken with it, et cetera, et cetera. And I have never had a vehicle that got this kind of attention. So that is what started me on the path of building wild and crazy vehicles.
Nice.
And you haven't just limited yourself to cars or trucks or coaches like the one behind you. You've done a lot of different kinds of stuff. I saw a couple of your motorcycles.
Motorcycle.
Dually.
Let's see. This guy here. This thing fascinates me. I'm not sure you can see it real well depending on your screen, but this is the one with the twin back wheels.
And front tires.
And front. Well, yeah, you can't see it. It's behind me. But yeah, that's that just the engineering of stuff like that. See, that really, attracts me. It's like, A, what would cause you to think of something like that? And then B, just because you can think it, can you build it? Well, clearly you can. And people love that kind of thing.
There is a little bit of story behind this one.
Yeah.
So when my kids were young, I have been on motorcycles my entire life.
Right. You and me.
I started dating my wife, and we'd go on the back of the motorcycle.
Right.
I mean, we went everywhere on the bike. We ended up getting married, getting new motorcycles, having a ball, and then I have my first son. And I'm just not riding it.
Yeah.
I'm going, you know what? We could use the money for diapers and formula and all the other things that are associated with baby. So I ended up selling that. It was a Nighthawk 750. Always thinking that later on, I just buy myself another motorcycle.
Right.
Fast forward 20 years, kids have grown up, and I'm getting the hankering to get a new motorcycle.
Yep.
So I kind of mentioned it to the wife that, you know what? I think it's time I go buy a Harley. And her reaction wasn't what I was expecting.
Oh.
Been in a bit of an argument about not getting a motorcycle. And I'm explaining, I grew up on motorcycles. We went dating on a motorcycle. We were married on motorcycles.
Cool.
She, has changed her opinion, thinking that bikes are dangerous, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So I got mad. I screamed, fine, I won't buy a damn motorcycle. And I slammed the door and I left. But I didn't say I want to build a skinny car. So this is why I have a 4-wheel motorcycle.
Well,
now later on, she came to her senses, and I ended up getting my Harley, but I got several of them now. That was the reason I built that bike.
You've had some 3-wheeled motorcycles too. I see the beer keg flathead special here is kind of a nice piece of work. I'm an old Harley guy. I mean, old. Let's see. I got my first one in '68. So, I've done that, but I never did have a trike. And, those old flathead Cervicar, frames were, people love those things. They did all kinds of crazy stuff with them. I know you got one with kind of a T seat, that sticks way up. and there's no limit to the kind of stuff that people have done with those things. I'm kind of looking at this one. It looks like the front end on that one was still stock length.
That one is, and
Yeah.
I didn't build that whole bike. I just modified it after buying it.
Yeah.
But like you said, those little flatties, they don't have a whole lot of power.
Yeah.
I can't take anyone for a ride on that one.
Yeah.
So I ended up, in fact, I just sold that about a month ago.
Did you?
And I've got that other trike I'm building, only this one's got a shovel head in it.
There you go.
And
Oh,
a king queen.
I had a shovel head. I wish I should find the picture of it. I'll show it to you some other time. Um, this was during the time when, 70s, early 70s, when, choppers were first like the big deal. And the guys at Street Chopper Magazine had all kinds of pictures. There weren't a lot of custom parts, but you could get extended tubes for the front ends and narrowed trees. So I had a shovel head that originally was a Seattle cop bike that we welded on a hardtail. I boxed and gusseted the frame. We kicked the neck out to about 1.25 inch rake, and then I put 16 over tubes on it. It was terrifying, but I had a shovel head motor in it. That thing actually ran pretty good, especially after I put the Weber carburetor on it.
And you wish you had that bike today.
I do, but then I wish I had all of those old things. Why'd we ever sell them? Well, you needed the money.
We needed money to build and buy other rigs.
Something else.
Oh, there's a lot of cars and bikes I wish I still own, but
yeah, oh yeah.
um,
Yeah, well, and I think Ron's the same way. I mean, justifiably, he has, I don't know what, on your property and in somebody else's garage, you probably have what, 30, 40 cars? You must have easily that many.
No.
But we all have those things in our past, Shh, don't get, well, is commercial.
I only have about 15.
Well, let's see, that's a manageable number. You can.
Future projects.
That's about right. That's about right. Yeah, that's about right. I'm in there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
And people who watch and listen to this show, God love them, they're going, only 15? What's wrong with you? So
same thing with guns.
Well, yeah, we don't even get started with that. You should do a separate podcast just for guns. Ron, let's just say Ron has not only been to my house, but he's seen what's behind. This is actually just a background. If I take that off of there, I'm literally in the gun room. So tell me about, I mean, obviously you're not holding back on any of your designs. You got stuff that's pretty fantastic. I mean, it's out beyond the realm of, I put stripes on my 56 Bel Air. What made you decide? I mean, obviously you've got the idea of building stuff that's not usual, but when did you start? Did you start showing them, immediately, or did they just kind of grab attention on their own? Or because I mean, seeing you back something into the garage there at LeMay, that's a whole other level of stuff. Not everybody gets to do that.
Nope.
Like I said, it started with the coffin car. It was a huge success. The four-wheel chopper started off, it's just a way of getting a motorcycle, and the wife was adamant about me not getting one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I started showing it and people went crazy for that. But when I build something, I never draw it out. It's an image I have in my head. I'll get a rough idea of what I want to do, like the coffin car. And then I go to the swap meets and I start buying parts. I mean, my stuff is starting off low budget. We buy old worn out stuff and we just rebuild it, refurbish it, etc. I shouldn't say we. Sometimes I get my students to help me, but this is basically my hobby. So for the twin engine car, my original plan was to build a little tea bucket. I wanted a little tea bucket to put around in.
That's not a tea bucket.
It's not.
It's not. I know you want it to be, but that is not. I've seen tea buckets.
Looking for a Jaguar independent rear end.
Ah, of course.
So I've been looking for one, and I come across this V12 Jaguar sedan. Didn't run. I paid $300 for it. Had the rear end that I want. But then I'm going, well, maybe I can get the sedan running. And so I looked at the engine and it had a broken jack shaft, and I'm going, Well, let's see, eBay's got one for $75. I could just buy that jack shaft and put it in, but you know, $75 is a lot of money for a shaft. So I'm thinking I'll just check the local Craigslist and see what I can find. And I happen to come across the complete Jaguar engine for $75.
$75.
So I ended up buying that one.
Sure.
That one was supposed to have been a good runner. And I was
V12.
thinking about putting it into the sedan.
Yeah.
But I still needed a jack shaft. I didn't want to rub it out of the good engine. So I kept looking for a jack shaft. Someone parting out a V12 that I could just, you know, pick this thing up for $10 or something.
Yeah.
So I come across another engine for $50. Well, that's cheaper than the first one. So I ended up buying that one. And then someone else gave me one. And I ended up with like 6 Jaguar V12s.
You know, people are committing suicide now. You have what, $75? I mean, nowadays you couldn't even, that's not to be done.
This was at a time where these Jag motors have a horrible fuel injection system on them.
It's true.
Yes.
I have had British cars, believe me. I'm right there with you.
Lucas, the Prince of Darkness.
The Prince of Darkness.
Yep.
Yeah.
So people were yanking these out just because they didn't run very well.
Yeah.
Not that there was a problem with them, but nobody could fix these.
Right.
So there's a company that sells a kit to drop a small block Chevy in place of the Jag motor.
Okay.
So they were just getting rid of these V12s. Nobody wanted them. A couple of them were given to me. I mean, and of course now I've got V12s and I'm going, what the heck can I do with a V12? I thought about building that T-bucket, which I was going to build. I was just going to use a Jaguar motor.
Yeah.
And I'm going, yeah, but I got 6 of them. Why build? Why build a quad with a single V12 when you can have
half a case of
That's right.
V12s?
That's right.
Now I'm thinking, what can I put these V12s in?
I got a 41 Jimmy ice cream truck project over here that maybe, you know, we should talk. You know, a V12 would be pretty. I mean, I've got a 455 Buick. I'm thinking.
Well, I got another Jag. I got a bunch of Jag motors over here. So
maybe. So what do you think about coming to Idaho for a couple of weeks? I got a guest.
Yeah. I don't think my wife would go for that. Yeah. I have an addiction. Like women have an addiction with shoes, I have an addiction with projects.
Well, yes.
And I can't stop it. I'm on Facebook Marketplace, I'm on Craigslist. I come across these great deals and I'm going, oh my God, that would make such a cool car. And then I gotta stop and I gotta say, I have projects that I'm never gonna get done because I'm just don't have enough time.
See, that right there is why this show exists, because you're not alone. And
you're not alone.
We
should just do the intro. Hi, I'm Mike Fobes. I'm a caraholic. Hi, Mike.
Exactly. Exactly. We're going to start a club for this.
It's easy. Just a hot rod podcast. To a hot rod podcast. This is Rat Rod Hot Rod Anonymous.
That's right.
But to be honest with you, I don't want to go to that meeting because I don't want to give up my addiction.
Me either.
Right. Well, you know, there is such a thing as recidivism. I mean, we might backslide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I call one of you guys and said, I slipped, I bought another project, and instead of you guys telling me that it's okay, you guys are going to encourage me.
No, tell us about it.
Let's talk. Come on.
Knowing Ron, he's going to try to buy it off.
He might, or trade you something for it.
Trade me. There you go.
That's
well, he's got a car project.
I do have that.
Trying to get off of him. I do that because I have too many projects now.
He's talking about my 56 Shorty.
I am.
I know you are.
That car, a similar car to that in high school.
So did I.
Didn't you have a chassis for that thing, Ron? You were all set to rock.
I just scored a 1956 Nomad chassis for it. So I have a Nomad chassis for it. It's about 18
We
inches
need
too
the
long. Got to
deal.
shorten 18 inches, and it'll be fit there perfectly.
Does it have glass?
I've got all the parts. I got the doors. I got the seat. I got the.
Does it have glass
Yeah,
in the
I've
back?
got everything. What's
Is
that?
this a panel or is this a glass? Is it a wagon, station wagon,
It's a
or is it a panel?
Wagon.
Oh, so it's got glass in the back.
No.
Huh? But I mean, there's
Nope.
windows. You just don't have the glass.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, so it is
So it is a
Glass.
panel.
The glass is. It's a panel.
okay.
Then I don't really want it nearly so much.
Uh,
Because what I want to do is I don't care about your chassis. I build my own.
Sure.
I want to find an old Coronado
Okay.
with the 455 front wheel drives.
Right. Put the rear behind
Put it in the back.
Yep. I got you.
Put it in the back behind the glass with probably an 871 blower on it.
Yeah.
And the scoop coming out the roof of the back of that thing.
Nice.
Perfect.
I don't want to build
Now-
something more.
You can always put glass back in it. It's easy.
Yeah.
Maybe
You got a
one day.
sawzall.
Huh?
I said you got a sawzall back there. I'm sure in that snapping tray back there, there's probably a sawzall someplace. That's a project to give to some of your students. Hey guys, got me some windows.
Well, one of the reasons I like teaching is because I can get students involved in the hot rodding.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Granted, their biggest problem is they can't afford some of this old iron, so they're
Right.
hot rodding what they have, and that's of course
Right.
why we're into Honda tuners and things like that. Because
Yeah.
if you think back when we were young, we didn't go out and buy old iron. We were buying cars that were 10, 15 years old.
Absolutely.
So back in 76, when I was 16, got my first car, I bought a 66 Mustang. That was a 10-year-old car. It was a piece of crap.
Right.
It was all I could afford. I couldn't afford
I bought a-
to go 32
I
Ford.
bought a 55 shorty.
Yeah.
What's that?
I bought a 55 shorty
See?
Chevy
Well,
shorty.
and so I'm in the same boat. I mean, here I am, 20 years old, 1970. What did I buy? A 56 Bel Air for $250.
Nice.
That's what they were worth then, And it was actually pretty decent. It was straight, and there wasn't any, body putty on it. It was in good shape. Had a the 265, with the Power Glide, all day long. Everybody, And I made out though when I sold it. I mean, $250 was a pretty good price, but when I was done with it after the year that I drove it, I sold it for $265.
I traded a 29 S. I traded a 29 Essex for my shorty
There you go.
coupe.
Yeah.
Coupe that I got from in Chelan, Washington, in the back of a field that was sitting behind an old gas station. Just sitting back there behind the old gas station, just rotting away.
Yep.
And I picked it up and I traded it for that shorty.
Yeah.
I wish I still had the
All
Essex.
old cars I could have bought back then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just had a little bit of money. But
Yep.
coming out of high school,
Yep.
nothing,
Yep.
Yep.
But now, I mean, the old timers are going, why can't you get kids interested in old hot rods? And I'm going, you forget
There aren't
that
any.
our hot rods weren't that old when we got them.
Right.
Right.
So this is why the kids are into old Hondas, well, 15, 20-year-old Hondas, because it's all
Sure.
they can afford.
Of course. That's
That's what's in the wrecking yards these days. That's what's in the
Yeah.
wrecking yards. There aren't any old
Yeah,
cars
good
in the
luck
wrecking yards
finding
anymore.
a 55 Buick. I mean, and not
Good
for
luck.
20 grand, maybe, if you're lucky. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's changed, and yet it remains the same. People are still taking stuff off to make them lighter, and they're still adding stuff to make them faster. And that's hot rodding in its essence. I mean, that's the thing. And for those people who, I mean, Ron knows this story. I'll tell you just really quick. We're kind of running out of time, but I built motorcycles all my life. I had 14 or 15, different bikes. I built them from the ground up. So, I can do that. But I've owned a ton of cars, but I've never actually built a car from the ground up. Always wanted to. And a few years ago, I started collecting parts, just like, and I mean, I've literally taught myself how to weld. I took a one-day class. I'm just kind of flubbing my way, but I didn't really draw much out either. I had an idea what I wanted to do, and I'm making tons of mistakes, which is half the fun. I mean, I've messed stuff up, but that kind of thing speaks to me. It's like, okay,
You want to tell me about chopping the top of your truck?
Yeah. I got a 40 Chevy cab and I wanted to chop the top. Never chopped the top before, but I have ultimate confidence that me and
He went for it. He went for it.
I did 4 inches, cut the thing off, and then I started looking at the measurements going, how am I going to get that to fit? But it fits now. It's all good.
It's working now. It's working now.
It's not pretty, but it's not supposed to be. So
it'll work out.
I mean,
it'll be cool.
Just what it is. That's just what it is.
It's cool.
What? Here's what we need to do, because we're down to about the last 4 minutes. We need to do another one of these.
Yes, sir.
If you're up for it, Mike, I would like to have you come on, and I want to talk about some of the cars individually. Like, let's bring up a picture and say, okay, tell me the whole story of the coach. Tell me the whole story of the whatever it is. Are you up for something like that?
That would be awesome.
I'm up for that.
You are
awesome.
Perfect. Well, let's do that then. We'll bag out for tonight. I really appreciate you coming on, and thanks for getting the camera squared away and everything else. And we'll set this up and figure if we do it another week or maybe a couple down the line.
Except for one last thing.
Yes, sir.
I've got an extended warranty here that I need to sell you.
Tell me more about that, which is nobody ever says. All right. Mike Fobes, Auburn, Washington, just south of Seattle, instructor at the Renton Technical College, and a real solid hot rod guy, fabber from the word go. I appreciate your time tonight, young man.
It was fun. Thank you.
Car Club of Idaho loves a good time, and we'd rather build it than buy it. We're a family-oriented, nonprofit car club that welcomes all 1969 and older, in the rough is enough, real steel and iron. We're all about old school, traditional hot rods and rat rods. We get together, we have fun, we help each other build, and we cruise like crazy because that's the way car clubs are supposed to be. The Rat Bastards of Idaho is a new class of old school. Our signature event is the Infestation Show every July. Check our Facebook page for location, time, and dates. We're charter sponsors of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame and the Hot Rod Podcast. Join us at cruise-ins all over Idaho and eastern Washington. Joining the club is easy. Just contact us through the club Facebook page or contact us at any event. Check us out on the Rat Bastards Car Club pages on Facebook.
You know, for this particular show, I thought as long as we're doing the close, Mike was such a great guest. I'm going to sort of move to the side here, and you can see what his hearse looked like during the build. Those organ pipe headers are kind of a
two V12s, twin V12s.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Jaguars.
Yeah, why would you go with one when you could go with two? I got over
makes
here.
Makes it look like the old steam organ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Organ pipes coming up out of it.
Yeah, just a win. And some of the other ones we saw during the show, I mean, great stuff. You know, this guy is really a beyond master. And
he's a comedian. He's also a very, very funny guy. He's quite a comedian, man. He's a crack up
guy. Yeah. So anyway, it was a good time to have him. And, I really hope we get him back again. We should have at least a part 2 or 3. Maybe you can go down to his place and we can do the next show where you and him are in the shop.
Oh, that works.
Could be. We'll see.
I gotta take some more parts from the Oldsmobile over there that I've been meaning to take to him.
Well, when you go, shoot some video. We'll do it that way.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, brother, it's been great. We'll do this again down the line in about 7 days. And you guys have a grand weekend.
You too, sir. Happy Valentine's Day.
And the same to you. That's it for this episode of the Hot Rod Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our show, and we appreciate it if you smash those notification buttons too, so you'll know when a new one drops. For Ron Foreman, I'm Brady Wright. This has been the Hot Rod Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.